Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today.
Into interest rates.
Yeah, specifically.
Are they going down again?
Exactly. Is the Fed going to cut them again at their December meeting?
Big question.
Huge question.
Yeah.
We got some fresh insights,
Hot off the press.
straight from the source. Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller's recent speech.
Plus, we've got some whispers.
Ooh, juicy. From other Fed
To
officials.
help us break it all down.
And figure out what's what. You're going to want to pay attention.
Because this could directly impact your wallet.
So listen up.
It's pretty amazing how relevant this all is.
I know, right?
With the Fed's December meeting just around the corner, Waller's speech.
Gives us a peek behind the curtain.
A glimpse into the Fed's thinking, for sure.
And it sounds like he's leaning
On
towards...
the rate cut.
Okay, so not a for sure thing.
Not a done deal yet.
He was very clear about that.
Data dependent.
Right, he kept saying that. Data dependent.
Which basically means
Needs more info.
before making the final call.
Like waiting for blood test results before writing a prescription.
Exactly. And here's the interesting part.
Lay it on me.
Waller seems to think that the current monetary policy
Okay.
is restrictive enough.
Even with another cut.
Yeah, he argues that it wouldn't drastically change things,
The overall economic environment.
Right, so it sounds like the Fed thinks they have,
A little wiggle room.
exactly, some breathing room to adjust later if they need to.
Okay, hold on. What does restrictive enough even mean?
Good question. Restrictive in this context means
Give it to me straight.
the Fed is trying to slow down the economy.
To fight inflation.
Exactly, primarily to curb inflation. They're watching a lot of economic indicators, but one of the most important,
Is that the PCE?
yes, the core PCE.
Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index.
You got it.
I've heard of the PCE, but what's so special about this core one?
Well, it excludes food and energy prices.
Which are all over the place.
Right, they can change so much from month to month.
Volatile.
Exactly. So by focusing on the core PCE,
They get
it's a clearer picture of what's really going on.
less noise.
You got it. It's like filtering out the static to get a clearer signal.
Makes sense. So if core PCE is high,
Inflation is sticking around.
and the Fed might not cut rates.
It could give them pause. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Waller leaning towards a cut, but waiting for the data.
Particularly that core PCE number.
And he used that analogy about inflation. What was it?
Oh, yeah, the MMA fighter. Submission is inevitable.
That's some serious confidence.
He's basically saying that the Fed will defeat inflation.
Okay, but is that realistic? Is this restrictive enough policy really working?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Stay tuned.
We'll be back with more after the break. So Waller sounds pretty confident.
But cautious too, right?
Yeah, like he's ready to fight inflation.
But not rushing into anything.
He's got a plan.
Which is good because raising rates too fast.
Could really backfire.
Oh, yeah, it could stifle growth.
Even cause a recession.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
So the data is key here.
Absolutely.
What could make them change course?
Well, if that core PCE,
The one we were talking about?
yeah, if it's still going up,
Or even staying above 2%.
that would be a red flag.
It would mean inflation's not cooling down.
Not as fast as they hoped.
What about other things?
Oh, yeah, there are a bunch.
Like jobs?
Jobs, consumer spending.
Right, if people are spending a lot.
The economy might be overheating.
Yeah, that could push prices up.
Exactly. On the other hand, if things slow down,
Could be a sign of trouble.
it could, yeah, a slowdown might be coming.
So they're trying to find that sweet spot.
The Goldilocks economy.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Economists call it a soft landing
Bringing down inflation.
without crashing the economy.
Like landing a plane in a hurricane.
That's a great analogy.
So how does this affect me?
The big question.
What does it mean for my wallet?
Well, lower rates are usually good for borrowers.
Like if I'm buying a house,
Exactly. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards.
they could all get cheaper.
Makes those big purchases more affordable.
But what about my savings account?
Yeah, there's the trade-off.
Lower returns.
It cuts both ways.
So it really depends on your situation.
Exactly. Do you need to borrow money or are you trying to grow your savings?
Are you a saver or a spender?
Right. This is where financial planning comes in.
Understanding how it all works.
So you can make the best decisions for yourself.
It's like having a map when you're traveling,
You might not know every turn.
but you know where you're going.
I like that. Speaking of different perspectives,
We've got those other Fed officials.
their comments add another layer to this whole thing.
It's like a puzzle with so many pieces.
Let's see how they fit together.
Okay, I'm ready. What do they have to say? Okay, so let's talk about those other Fed voices.
Yeah, what did they have to say?
Well, Raphael Bostic.
president of the Atlanta Fed,
He made a point of saying,
that the December decision isn't a done deal.
not preordained.
Yeah, that's the word he used.
So even if everyone's expecting a cut,
Doesn't mean it's going to happen.
they could go a different way.
Exactly. It all comes back to the data
They're not listening to the hype.
or the market predictions.
They're waiting for the facts.
Makes sense, right? They don't want to make a mistake.
One that could hurt the economy.
Big consequences.
Okay, what about John Williams?
The New York Fed president.
He said he expects
Rate cuts
eventually,
over time, he said.
but not when.
No timeline.
So a little vague.
Compared to Waller, yeah.
What do you think he meant?
I think he's saying the Fed is thinking long term.
Not just about this one meeting.
Right. They're looking at the big picture.
Trying to figure out
How the economy will
the
evolve.
next few years.
Yeah, it's like playing chess.
You got to think several moves ahead.
And sometimes you have to make a sacrifice.
Lose a pawn to save the queen.
Maybe accept a little more inflation now.
To avoid a recession later.
Exactly. Tough choices.
High stakes for sure.
Eh.
And then there's Fed Chair Powell.
His comments will be important.
Everyone will be listening closely.
Trying to read between the lines.
Well, we've covered a lot today.
A lot of ground.
We've talked about the latest from the Fed
Broken down some economic jargon.
and even thought about how it all affects you.
Your own personal finances.
So hopefully you're feeling a little more informed,
Empowered to make good decisions.
whether you're saving for a house.
Or investing for retirement.
It's all about knowledge.
And understanding.
So before we go, I have a question for you.
Hit me.
Based on everything we've talked about,
All the data and the Fed speak.
do you think the Fed should cut rates again in December?
What do you think?
No right or wrong answer. Just something to consider.
It's all about forming your own opinion
And remember, this is just a snapshot.
of a very complex situation.
Keep learning. Stay curious.
And keep exploring different viewpoints.
That's how you stay ahead of the curve.
And make smart financial decisions.
Well said. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Until next time.
Stay curious.